Ever wondered how much safer your work at height operations could be? Imagine a world where every potential hazard is detected before it becomes a problem. Meet Tracker AI's smart PTZ camera system. This isn't just any camera, it's a game changer in work at height safety. Safety is paramount, right? It's the foundation of a productive and happy workforce. Despite stringent regulations, accidents still happen. Traditional methods often fall short in preventing these incidents. Enter Tracker AI's smart PTZ. This advanced system is designed to fill the gaps left by outdated safety measures. Tracker smart PTZ cameras deliver unmatched oversight so you can spot hazards before they become accidents. Offering 24/7 monitoring, it detects work at height safety hazards instantly, no matter the time of day or night. Think about it. Real-time monitoring, automated alerts, and even fall detection. It's like having a safety manager who never blinks. Real-time alerts trigger immediate action, ensuring that potential dangers are addressed before they escalate. Automated surveillance significantly reduces human error, making your work site safer and more efficient. It even detects PPE and welding work compliance, ensuring that all workers are properly equipped. Ensure every worker goes home safe. That's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Ready to elevate safety? Stay safe, stay smart. With Tracker AI, you're not just upgrading your equipment, you're upgrading your entire safety culture. The Tracker Smart PTZ camera features advanced AI algorithms that are constantly learning and adapting to new safety challenges. With 360-degree rotation and high-definition video, it covers every angle, leaving no blind spots. You can decide which areas to cover, what to detect in each area through a simple online procedure without ever leaving your seat. Through the setup, you can monitor what is happening on the ground in real time remotely. In a recent case study, a manufacturing plant reduced accidents by 40% after implementing our system. Features include night vision, advanced monitoring for PPEs, work at height and welding activities, including real-time analytics, making it a comprehensive safety solution. Our team of experts ensures the highest quality and reliability, constantly innovating to meet your safety needs. Plus, our dedicated support team is here to assist you 24/7, ensuring that you get the most out of your investment. Join the revolution in safety with Tracker AI's smart PTZ camera system. It's time to take your safety measures to the next level. Visit tracker.live to learn more and get started today. Together, we can create a safer, smarter future for everyone.
Welcome to another episode of Hacklab Podcast. Today's episode dives deep into the very core of what shapes our behavior when no one's watching, our safety DNA. We are honored to be joined by Mr. Josy John, a globally respected safety ambassador, coach, and thought leader with over 35 years of experience across industries. Mr. Josy John isn't just a practitioner, he's a force of change, challenging both individuals and organizations to rethink their safety instincts and evolve towards a more insight-driven, human-centric culture. In this conversation, we'll explore what safety DNA really means, how deeply it influences decisions on the ground, and most importantly, whether we have the courage and commitment to rewire it. So let's get ready for an episode that's less about checklists and more about mindset. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. And before we begin our conversation, I would request a small introduction from you for our audience.
Thank you, Amber, for taking me on this podcast. And it's always been a pleasure to come on a podcast, especially with you, because you are quite incisive in your questioning, and the way you approach it is also very good. And I fully understand that Hacklab is very committed to safety. That's why they are running regular podcasts. Now, my background is civil engineering. I graduated in civil engineering the year 1986. Then a couple of years in India. Then I moved to the Middle East, where I spent 20 years, initially working on sites as a site civil engineer, project manager, and that's when I got an opportunity to move into safety because in early around 2000 was when the companies in the US, in the UAE started looking at safety seriously, and I was given the task with introducing safety in the organization, and that started my safety journey. And in 2012, I moved to India to work with L&T as the head of safety for the Mumbai airport T2 construction. And spent a few years with them, and then I moved on to Tata Consulting Engineers as a corporate safety head in the year 2016. And then in 22 October, I was tasked with looking after the bullet train project as Tata Consulting Engineers had taken on the role of a project management consultant. And I was the chief safety expert on the project. And I spent 2 years on the project, and which was quite good, setting up standards, setting up systems for the running of the project in terms of safety management of the contractors. And after that, I retired from full-time work, and now I'm more engaged in promoting safety, talking to people, coaching, mentoring, giving advice wherever required, and speaking engagements. So that's a little bit of me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I think you are the most appropriate person to talk on this topic, and I'm really excited to move forward. So let's begin with the concept itself. What is safety DNA, and why is it important?
DNA is the basic constitution of a living being. And I use the term safety DNA because safety also has a constitution which a person carries. So it's essentially a basic understanding of what is safety and your perceptions of safety, and then how you respond to situations from the safety aspect, like when you're crossing the road or you see something else which prevents you from moving forward. How will you respond to that situation? And taking evasive action to protect yourself primarily, and then and then you might have proactive steps taken to prevent others also meeting with injury or being exposed to hazardous conditions which can probably injure them too.
Right. Makes sense. So, so as we talk about moving from instincts to insight, so what are some common instinctive behaviors in safety that actually pose hidden risks?
Instinctive behavior is what you carry with you normally. Like at a younger age, you will run up the stairs, but as you get older, you will start slowing down because you know that if you try to run up the stairs, you can trip and fall down. But then insightful behavior is based on knowledge you have received, maybe some specific training. Now, what do you do in case of you have to go to an offshore platform to work? There are some specific training that has to be undertaken. And how do you respond to given situations? So there you are taught what are the hazards and the risk levels associated with each hazard, and what is the evasive or the control measures that you have to adapt to yourself so that you do not get exposed to the hazard or even meet with an accident. So instinct behavior is what you normally carry with you. Insightful is you take an informed decision on how to respond to that particular situation.
Right. So, sir, as we know, DNA is something very intrinsic to each and every human being, and I think animals as well. I don't know about plants, right? So, can safety DNA be changed, or it is something people are just born with?
People are born with a DNA, a child's DNA is already determined. But then over a period of time, you learn a lot of new things. So similarly to what you increase your knowledge in any area of life, even the area of safety also, that knowledge actually enables you to shape up your DNA with regard to safety. Now, as a child, you are taught not to touch fire. Well, that is there. Maybe as a child, you will not realize that touching fire will harm you, but then you are prevented by your parents or other seniors from getting into contact with fire, and you'll keep away from it. But then you will see that as you get older, you actually know what is the problem. So you find that the safety DNA is something which you can build up as you grow older and older. So the behavior also changes accordingly.
Right, sir. So I just remembered a very important experiment which was conducted in which small kids were put in between the snakes, and they were not afraid of snakes because they don't know what afraid is.
Yeah.
Right. But eventually, when we grow up, their mom who was standing away was so afraid that something might happen to my kid. So I think that's the difference.
Perfect example. Thank you.
Yeah. So, sir, what role does early training and leadership culture plays in shaping someone's safety
Just
DNA?
as you talked about the child and the mother, the earlier you get trained, the better will be the impact. Now, what does early training do? It will prevent unwanted practices creeping based on the raw understanding of the available knowledge and perceptions. So, I'm now coming to a workplace. So, when you come to a workplace, understanding the best practices and along with proper training, knowledge enhancement will shape your thinking, and you will find the result is safe behavior. In fact, when you get training, your perception of risk will definitely change. Now, that is why you have something known as experiential safety learning centers. Some of the companies, corporate companies, do have experiential learning centers. Like I went to one particular one, which L&T has in Surat, where a person is asked to wear a harness and he is allowed to fall. So he really gets an understanding of what happens when you fall and what is the benefit of wearing a harness. So by that, once you have that experience, your perception of the risk will change totally. So training and leadership culture does have a important part played in shaping somebody else's safety DNA.
So, sir, moving forward, have you seen examples where a shift in mindset completely transformed the safety behavior of a team or individual? Could you share any story with us?
Oh yes, I've seen many situations because my focus whenever I do training is it is not at the mind, but rather at the heart. So when you focus on the person's heart, it's actually you're speaking to his emotions, making him understand it. Therefore, what you would find is the intelligence that you are applying to his brain, he takes it to heart and takes a decision because he understands the benefit of it. I can give you an example. You when I do training, for example, for wearing goggles. If you don't wear your goggles, this is what I tell them. If you don't wear your goggles, you can lose your eyesight. Now, if you lose your eyesight, you can lose your job. As far as the organization is concerned, they are your only employee number 9673. You will be replaced by employee number 9674 because organization will still continue. But who is the biggest loser? You are the loser because you have lost your job. When you lose your job, you stop earning. When you stop earning, you don't have money to support yourself, to feed yourself and your family. Therefore, use the goggles that have been given by the organization. They're spending a lot of money on it so that your eyes are protected and the organization overall takes a benefit from it. So this is what happens, when you give proper training, and I've seen that over the years that has happened in many places.
Right, sir. So, sir, how do you deal with resistance to change? Any change is not easy, especially from seasoned professional who will say that we have seen it all, how it works.
See, change is a constant which constantly changes. And dealing with seasoned professionals is always a challenge, and I have been able to persuade seniors to change. I remember still on one of the projects in the early years, we had the company vice president and everybody were there for one opening event. And at the end of the event, everybody was served some tea, coffee, juice, and some bottles of water. And what I observed was that people were drinking the water in the bottles, and there was no arrangement for throwing waste. So one of the vice president, what he did, he was looking around and slowly went and threw it to one corner. And I was just observing him very closely. And after he moved away, he found another person also doing the same thing. And in the next 15-20 minutes, I found a pile of waste piling up there. Then I caught hold of this vice president. Sir, you have been a very bad example. I know, what did I do? You see, what you did is you threw that empty bottle over there, and others have also done the same thing. You should have just held on to that empty bottle, just walked a couple of minutes away, about 15, 20 meters away, and there was a waste bin where you could have
Right.
dumped it. And he kind of got a shock. Oh, I'm very sorry. He was very apologetic. He said, I will never again do this. I will keep this in my mind. I will carry that plastic bottle in my pocket. And when I find the waste bin, I will throw it in it. So this is what happens. But you need to confront it at that particular
Yes.
level and make him understand what is the reason you're doing. You're not, fighting with him, but so that he understands he's the big boss there, and if he wants a clean workplace, he needs to show an example even in this
Right,
area.
sir. And sir, like it's a common sense, but still people don't use that often. They try to, they want to be called out. Like you called him out. If no one would have called him out, he would not change.
Well, that's what you have to call him out in a way that he doesn't feel embarrassed, but he understands what you're trying to show him. And I just told him, you are the leader. You have to set the example over here, and it worked.
Right. Yes, sir. So, sir, you have worked across multiple industries. What differences or common threads have you observed in safety DNA across sectors?
Safety DNA has a lot to do with your exposure to good practice and the overall work culture of a place. Safety culture is not a separate culture by itself. It is part of the overall culture of the organization. There is always an element of relativity too. So, depends on the situation. So, when there's a strong deterrence to keep unsafe actions out of your daily routine, the demonstration of best-in-class safety practices will always be evident. And in a place or an organization where the duty of care is not of value, there the safety culture will be poor. I can just give you a small example. This was something which happened on a project in Mumbai at the Geo World Center, which L&D was building. So I was looking after that project initially, and then I moved out. And then one of my friends came in. He said, Josy, I want to see one of your large projects. I said, come, I'll take you to the Geo World Center. And I had to attend to a couple of calls. I said, you take a walk. So he just went, after his induction, he went into the site, took a walk around, and he went into one of the lower basements. And he saw a group of men were brooming the place. And the moment they saw him, they stopped brooming. And he just told them, no, you'll continue. That worker, he said, told him, sir, if we continue brooming, you are going to breathe in all the dust. We are protected because we are using masks. But you do not have a mask. Therefore, you will breathe in the dust. We do not want you to breathe in dust. This guy, this friend of mine, who was the head of safety at Komatsu, he said, I was totally taken aghast, What are these guys telling me? Ordinary construction site workers are telling me that they are interested in my safety, and that's why they do not want to continue the work. He said, I've been in the manufacturing industry. I walked on shop floors where people are much more educated, but they have never been bothered to come up with this kind of a safety. So that's because we were inculcating a safety culture there where people were being told that you need to take care of the other person. That is, you owe a duty of care to your neighbor. And your neighbor can be anybody. It can be a visitor or somebody who's working with you. It can be a superior. It can be your peers or somebody who's below you. And that is where I would say that a good safety DNA is being instilled into the workplace.
Right, sir. So this is a very good example of this trickle down, that the culture is going to the very person on the floor. So, sir, in this specific example, can you share 2 or 3 things which you deeply worked on to get this culture right?
Now, one of the things that I always saying is that leaders have to take ownership. And they need to establish processes that are simple and easy to follow. They themselves, at the top level, the top management themselves should actually go through the safety procedures, even the safety manual. They should take time to read through it and have an understanding of what has to be done. And today, with technology coming into place, they should be willing to spend a little extra money on or provide a budget for necessary technology interventions. And then apply the rules personally. I remember one of the business unit heads in L&T when he came down to visit the site at the airport. The security guy stopped me and said, "Sir, beyond this place, if you have to go up the scaffolding, you need to wear a full body harness." He didn't throw any tantrums and say, "No, I am the boss here. Who are you to question me?" He said, "Okay, I will do it." And he very carefully, he cooperated so that, to strap on a full body harness takes a little time. Put your hands, your legs, everything through, and he wore it and he went all the way up, did the visit, and he came back. And then he came down and told me, "Josy, your guys seem to be very strict with me." I said, "Yes, we have told these guys that any person who has to cross this line and enter that place, because we already had a couple of fatalities of people falling from the top, and we do not want it. Anybody who wants to go on the top, this became mandatory." So that's something which you need the leadership also to, as we say, walk the talk. And I've seen in some places leadership are not interested in walking the talk, especially sometimes you have these political bigwigs who turn up on major projects and they will come and give you a big bashing. But when you ask them to sit through a small induction, etc., they are not at all interested. They say, "No, no, that's okay. We don't have the time." But then that is how our culture in the country is, and we have to live with that also.
Right, sir. Okay, so what advice would you give to safety leaders trying to influence the frontline workers to take ownership rather than just follow procedures? I think, this fits same into the example.
Yeah, I mean, that they have to show that, at each level there is a different component of the ownership that has to be taken, because in any safety management system, the responsibilities of the various individuals are clearly defined at various levels. You just have to take up ownership of what has been described that you should do it, and you just play your part. It's like a beautiful symphony in a music. The music, if it has to be very symphonic, you need to have everybody playing its part, and that's how you enjoy the beauty of it. It's the same thing that we have to do when it comes to safety management, that everybody plays his part very well, and there you have it for you, and you'll have a beautiful song of safety being sung across the organization.
Right, sir. So, sir, in this whole process, do you think that carrot and a stick model kind of you implement that as well with the co-workers?
Well, a carrot and a stick model is a good model. I always emphasize the fact that as a safety practitioner, I will hold your hands and we will walk together. The moment I see that you are, lagging behind in safety, I'll put a little pressure on your hand, and I'll still walk with you, and I'll pull you along. But then, if that pressure is not sufficient, and you still continue to violate the safety rules of the business, I will slightly give you a twist on your hand, and make you feel a little more uncomfortable. That can be done in various measures that are taken. And even then, you still do not want to continue working in that manner, walking with safety in that manner. I will have to even break your hand, give you a nice twist so that I have to break your hand. That can be a very strict disciplinary action. So when you have this kind of an approach, you find that the carrot and the stick is there. There are benefits being provided. And if you see across the industries, safety is one function where celebrations are done when things are done. For example, 1 million, 10 million, so many man hours, and gifts are given. No other activity in the organization really brings that up. And I've seen that happening across many places. And that's a very positive feature where you are encouraging everybody to demonstrate safe behavior.
Right, sir. Makes sense. Okay, so, sir, how can organization measure or assess the safety DNA of their workforce?
Well, this is a very good question in the first place, and I don't know whether my answer would also will be appropriate. Anyway, I think this is an appropriate way of doing it. The housekeeping standards is a good measure of the safety DNA of any organization. What is housekeeping? It is simply a place for everything and everything in its place. Now, if you go to a shop floor, when you see that everything is done in an orderly manner, material is kept stacked correctly, walkways are kept clean, there are no cables lying around, and this happens to every place. So what does it have? What does it mean? Housekeeping is nothing but a place for everything and everything in its place. This shows that people understand what needs to be done. If you travel around the world, if you look at communities, do they have a good transport safety or public safety, you just need to drive on the roads to see if there is good understanding of safety. Discipline in the traffic rules being followed is a clear understanding that there is a good measure of safety in that place. I would say that their safety DNA is very sharp and it is the correct place. So housekeeping is what it's all about. So what does it mean again? This will happen as all engaged will understand the safety rules and carry it within them, and they have a duty of care to others, and that's why you need to keep your workplace as neat and tidy. Otherwise, more and more hazards will be created, and that has the likelihood of people getting injured. So, basic requirement, have good housekeeping means it's a good measure of your safety DNA.
Okay. Yes, sir, that's a very intriguing concept, and I think everyone listening will take a note of it. So, sir, finally, for someone listening today who wants to start rewiring their own safety DNA, where should they begin and how should they act?
I think I will stick to the answer I gave earlier also. Good housekeeping at the workplace should be targeted, and for that to happen, training focused on transformation of the individual rather than a bit of transaction. To be done. Some checklists are pulled out, tick boxes, and with that safety. Safety is never transactional, it is transformation. And when you have a transformational approach, you will see that ownership of safety becomes a way of life and not just some tick boxes. People always like to go with the tick box, 1, 2, 3, they check and that's it, but they don't look beyond it. But transforming the individual is very, very important. And if you keep good housekeeping at your workplace, that means you have to do a lot of training. Also to ensure that the workplace is kept neat and tidy. People follow the rules. Right. And it will be very, very clearly visible because the external, that is the appearance of safety is also very important. And that's why you have to have good housekeeping at the workplace. So target housekeeping, you will definitely see that the safety DNA of the organization will start going.
Right, sir. And so one last question. Sometimes senior leaders, they say that I am a safety officer, but I have so much pressure from the top management that I need to finish the work, and they cut corners, even though they do the checklist of safety. So they always present this kind of a problem.
Yeah, and exactly, you use the right word. They have safety as a checklist, and they just want to tick it and go ahead. In my experience, what does safety say? Safety asks you to follow the rules. And why did you make the rules? Why do you need the right processes? So that the end product will be the right product. And that's why there's a slogan. Safety first, quality best. If you don't have a good quality product going out of your workplace, what happens? You're losing your business. Well, your management has asked you to produce more and to quickly produce it. But at the end of the day, the quality of the product also suffers. Right. Therefore, when you have safety first, your quality will also be best. Your productivity will also, by default, be on its increase. It will not go down. And I've seen that happening in many projects where safety was targeted and kept at the highest priority.
Right, sir. So, sir, thank you for today, your time. And this has been a very eye-opening conversation. You have shown us that safety isn't just about PPEs and policies. It's about the invisible framework within each of us, the attitude, instinct, and habits we carry into every environment define not just compliance but care. To our listeners, reflect on your own safety DNA. Are your instincts helping you or holding you back? Are you ready to shift from reactive behavior to intentional insight? If this conversation sparked your thought, share it with your colleagues and teams, because real change doesn't start with system, it starts with self-awareness. Until next time, stay curious, stay reflective, and above all, stay safe. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you very much.